All right, before we go ahead and start the show tonight, Connor and I wanted to take some time to recognize and pay some respects to the student that unfortunately lost their life at the first championship this past weekend. Our thoughts and prayers are with the affected team and want them to know that the first community is standing behind them and lifting them up in this tragic and difficult time. Well, here we are. The 2024 season is officially passed, and tonight we take a look at 4 hot topics in the community as a whole. We'll break down our new WFA inductee who has joined us on the show tonight, a discussion related to the Einstein Finals 2 and overall champs experience from the guest and 2 hosts today, a revisit to a previous line selection discussion, and finally a discussion related to Dean's homework and teams that have success having multiple teams. All this and more coming up on the 2024 crescendo season finale of FRC Roundup.
This video on fun is brought to you by viewers like you and also in partnership with the following. AndyMark is your one-stop shop for all your robotics competition needs. Celebrating 20 years of quality robotics parts and superior service, AndyMark employees have over 200 years of first-team experience. From mechanical and electrical products to tools and hardware, head on over to andymark.com for high-quality and affordable solutions. Support Fun's content creators when you sign up for a membership on YouTube Join. You'll get access to special perks like emotes, loyalty badges, and Fun members will even get early access to our scheduled videos and more. 100% of this revenue will go back to our correspondents to help recognize their efforts. Click the Join button in any YouTube video to pledge your support.
Welcome to the show. If you have not caught our show previously, FRC Roundup is where we take a look at important topics currently happening in FRC, highlight some discussion points about events that may have happened, strategy, or anything that correlates with FRC. If you're the Fun community, think there's a topic that we should cover on FRC Roundup, please feel free to ping me on the Fun Discord. I'll be more than happy to take a look at it. If you're not familiar with me, my name is Nick Mathis, and I'm currently in the 1st and Michigan region, and I'm a mentor on Team 33, the Killer Bees.
And I'm Connor McBride, mentor for Team 166 Chop Shop and an MC and game announcer in the New England District. Our guest tonight is Norman Morgan. Norm is a teacher and lead mentor on Team 2468 Team Appreciate, 2687 Team Apprentice, and 2689 Team Alpha, and is the 2024 Championship Woodie Flowers Award recipient. Coach, welcome to the show.
Thanks. It's great to be here.
Yeah, thanks again, Norman. Congratulations. So jumping into our first topic tonight, it's going to be about you. I want to hear more about, you obviously, I know winning the Woodie Flowers Award is a pretty big accomplishment in first. It's definitely, the most important award that you can win as a mentor. So to start us off, I just want to hear about, more what your role is as a mentor, kind of what you were going through when you won, and what is the aftermath, going in today, and, how you are doing with winning such a prestigious award here in first.
Well, thanks for having me. First of all, my role as a mentor, I'm a teacher, and I'm one that I founded the program 17 years ago, and teach, drive coach, mentor, head of the program. My definition of a mentor is an adult who guides and leads students, and my classroom is everywhere I work with others. I truly believe that when I'm behind the glass and I'm doing strategy with other teams and other kids, that I consider those kids part of my program and my team there as well. And I love the opportunity to work with more kids and other mentors and just have a blast with that. Saturday, Lucian's kind of put me on a little bit of a goose chase there for a while Saturday afternoon. About 45 minutes before he messaged me on Slack and says, "Hey, I need to talk to you about summer for his robot summer camp that he has for internships for FRC students. And then, where are you?" And came and found me, and then come on, we need to go talk to Aiden. They called some calls on us for getting notes stuck in us, and we got to go talk with Aiden. We need to get it worked out before Einstein starts. So I'd been gone. My wife was waiting on me, and I'd been gone longer than I needed to be. And so I called her and I said, I'm gonna walk with Lucian, and I don't know where we're going. And he says we're talking to Aiden, but I'm not sure what's really going on. And she says, "Well, where are you?" And I told her, and she came over and is about the time we had both our vehicles pulling in to load the trailer and load the bus, and I'm trying to get kids out there, and then all of a sudden I look up and the kids are running the bleachers, and I'm like, who told the kids to go? I didn't know what was going on, but I kind of had a little bit of a sneaking suspicion. And then Lucian told my wife, we call her Mrs. Coach, and he's like, you need to get all your kids in the stands. And so we did, and it kind of hit me at that point that I thought I knew what he was talking about. And at that point, I don't know, it was just a little bit of a surreal experience the rest of the afternoon. The people that are in the picture there are some people I just think are absolute icons of FIRST. And my phone was blowing up, and messages on Slack and Instagram and text messages. And so I was extremely surreal experience, and absolutely honored and humbled to be in the group with so many people I've looked up for so long, and many that I've actually competed with or competed against behind the glass, which was a really great honor for me too.
Sure. Yeah. That's cool. Cause I had always wondered, cause like, obviously you won WFFA in 2013. So it's been a bit since you had actually, qualified to win the award. And I've always wondered, like, from that perspective, cause that's not an uncommon thing that happens. And I'm like, how do they get, the team and the recipient actually on the floor without like completely just, giving it away. So that was cool to hear the perspective on that, from that standpoint. But, Connor, do you have any questions for Norm? I know that I got one more, but I'll go ahead and give you the floor before I go ahead and jump in.
I was just, I was listening to Christine and Mark Buckner talk about, just reading off everything during the presentation. I'm sitting there with a couple of the teams that adopted me for the weekend, and just listening to everything. And I normally I'm really good at like picking up keywords. I was like, all right, who is this? And they said appreciate, and I jump up. I'm like, it's Norm, let's go. I was so excited. So I'm over the moon, so happy that you're this year's recipient. I know I've been nominated twice by my team in prior years. So in 166, we always like to keep it a secret as to who the recipient is, and until they're mentioned at our qualifying events. Mm-hmm. So even just being recognized is an honor. So I can't imagine the emotions that you were going through that Saturday, and I'm super happy that you're this year's recipient.
Thank you, Connor.
Norm, I want to ask you real quick on here, as the Woodie Flowers Award recipient, what do you look forward to in regards to impacting as a WFA in the future as well, too? Because WFAs have an opportunity to be part of groups that some others are maybe not as privy to. So what is something that you look forward to in contributing to that factor?
I look forward to getting in number one of these individuals and seeing how the system works. And I actually had a call with Andy Baker and Mary Baker yesterday and found out it's really about a family thing, because your spouse has to be such a dedicated part of the system, the process. But for me, one of the things I've been a huge believer in is the sustainability of new teams. I'm a big believer. If we can get teams to year 3, I think there's more often than not teams can find a sense of success. And I think pairing those people with veteran teams that they can call and touch base with and visit with or feel connected to. And so if I had something that I would be really passionate about, it would be that sustainability piece. I'm all for new teams starting, but I'm also all for trying to maintain and connect those new teams with veteran teams that they feel like they can reach out to.
Awesome. Thanks for that, Norm. All right. Well, before we go ahead and jump into our next topic of the night, we'll go ahead and bring Tyler on to introduce our first giveaway for the night.
Thanks, Nick. Our first giveaway is going to be for our friends at Annie Mark. We got one more of those Annie Mark goats to give away. So If you're interested in winning that, type GOAT in chat in as well. They're also giving away one of their Circle Tool t-shirts as well. So type GOAT in chat right now. Don't forget our YouTube subscribers get 3 times luck to win. It's absolutely free to do. Click that subscribe button. Keep up to all the great championship content that we're going to have coming out, and we'll draw for this right after our next topic begins or ends.
Awesome. Thanks, Tyler. And thanks again to our friends at AnyMark for continuing to support. Jumping into our next topic of the night, I want to highlight overall champs experience and then specifically take a look at Einstein Finals 2. So, Connor, I'll go ahead and start with you. How was the 2024 championship for you?
This was awesome, to be honest. I got there Sunday, so I was there for a full week. I got to do some sightseeing and relaxing at the marquee pool. It was just a very relaxing first few days. It felt weird not being there with 166, but I'm friends with a lot of people on different teams. I got adopted by 1729 Inconceivable for most of the weekend. I talk with their lead mentors on basically a nightly basis. They're a half hour away from my house, so got to help them out. And when their match schedule came out, I saw that their schedule was really good. And granted, they have a good robot, but they got graced by the qual schedule gods, and they fully acknowledge that one too. So they finished 9th on Archimedes, ended up becoming the 8th seed captain. And Friday night, I was in a call with them for probably about a good 3.5-4 hours, just really trying to hash out like a 40-team pick list for a bunch of different scenarios. And we ended up pulling out some great teams. We pulled out 94-96 Link, 1261 Robo Lions, and 1339 Angelbotics. And I couldn't have asked for a better alliance there. I mean, we made it all the way to match 12 as the 8th seed. Ended up almost upset the Citrus and Barker alliance in the first match. All the teams there should get so much credit where credit's due, especially 1261 Robo Lions just played an absolute dominating cleanup game. A team that does not get a whole lot of recognition down in the Peachtree area, but this is absolutely a team that you should be looking out for. And then Einstein, 63-28 mechanical advantage, gave me a wristband. I got to sit with them in the Einstein section, and just being able to meet so many cool people and see cool robots, just be a sponge and just soak up as much knowledge as I could this past weekend was just something that I hope to experience again, and can't wait to go back next year.
Yeah, awesome, Connor. I definitely I haven't got to experience champs without a team, so I can imagine that that's a different experience, but probably a unique one too. I obviously was with 33 this weekend. We got in Tuesday morning, so I got to see a lot of the Cali friends. Going out Tuesday night and getting to visit a lot of folks that I get to see that once a year at championships. So that was a pretty cool experience. Similar to Connor, match schedule came out on Wednesday, and 33 had a decently favorable schedule. We had one match we had to play Mechanical Advantage, and then another one at the end that was a toss-up. Ended up having a few things go our way, and it went undefeated and ranked 1 in Hopper. And Friday night was arguably like the most confusing and stressful night I've ever had in FRC. We had a decent idea that we wanted to play with Mechanical Advantage. So we started talking with them, early Friday, before the rankings had shook out. And until the last match, Mechanical Advantage was actually 3rd. So it seemed like it was going to work out, but then the last match, 80-13 and High Tide actually lost, so moved Mechanical Advantage to that 2 seed. So they eventually decided they wanted to go a different route, which was perfectly fine. But from that standpoint, we were trying to, we were talking with Brett and High Tide and Mechanical Advantage were the 3 teams that we were mainly talking with and trying to figure out what was going on and all the different scenarios that were kind of phasing out. So we eventually got to the point where we had found out that Bread was going to go a different direction, so we had decided we were going to go with High Tide. High Tide was really the team that we wanted to play with from the beginning, but the way the rankings kind of looked, the way the rankings kind of shook out, Mechanical Advantage seemed like the pick. That way I could guarantee that Bread and High Tide were separated with 80-13. But, from that standpoint, we were happy to play with High Tide. Did put up a 155 clean the first match, which we were really ecstatic about. It was the first time that 33 was really in that cleanup role. So we ended up interacting with 31 of the 37 notes our line scored. So that was pretty stoked for our kids to get that experience. But unfortunately, had a few things that didn't go our way. Last match, I think it was match 12. We both got High Tide and us both got jammed and couldn't shoot. So Unfortunately, the cards weren't in our favor, but had a really good time getting to know JJ and Kenny and all the guys over at High Tide and working with them. And Aluminum Narwhals, in my one of the steals of the weekend. They were great to work with, as well as our fourth robot too. It was just a really good alliance. The vibes were really good. Everybody was clicking with each other, and we just had a really good experience. So it was unique for majority of our students because a lot of our students are new on 33. None of them have really been in that competitive aspect of ranking one at championships. So being in that, get to work with a team like High Tide, who is continuously year after year, in that scenario, made Einstein in 22, won the world championship in 23. Getting to work with them was a unique experience for our students, and we really enjoyed it. So overall, great weekend. It's probably one of the more fun times I've had. It's probably the wrong grammar, but one of the best times I've had a championship was really this past weekend. So, Norm, I know we heard about your Woodie Flowers experience on Saturday, but how was the weekend overall for 2468 and Team Alpha that was also there?
So we were on total opposite ends of the building. So Team Alpha was pretty much on their own. We've got Landon Hoff, who's a Fusion alumni, and very fortunate to have him as a drive coach. And Alpha is composed of our first-year freshmen, sophomores, and juniors. And they ran everything on their own with a little bit of help from a couple of mentors to help them with repair. They were super happy, super pleased. They had a replay match and lost a 4 RP match that turned into, I believe, a 1 RP match. So they were a little bummed about that, but they were super happy about running their 4-note auto and running their chaos auto against 1114 and kind of messing up a little bit of the auto game against them. So they had their small victories, but for me, the victory was I got a bunch of first-year rookies that are there learning and are strategizing match to match and having to do match play and get their robot ready. So that was a great experience for my young kids. For 2468, we had a middle of the road schedule. We had a couple of electronic issues that hurt us, chasing some things and all on Thursday. Friday, we thought we played pretty solid, and we knew that the inconsistency on Thursday might hurt us when it came to alliance selections. But 2056 was interested and had told us they were interested in us, and 987 did, and Dave did. So we had quite a few people that were definitely interested in visiting with us, but I was a little concerned what was going to happen alliance-wise, and in the end, we stayed up late waiting for some communications and checking with people. Didn't get anything, and we thought we would probably end up with Bedford Express, and we made plans of, okay, if we end up with them, what are our options, and we came with a great detail. And Gavin, the lead strategist for Bedford Express and the alliance captain, did a great job of,
I love him,
of taking some input. He's an amazing leader. Very, very impressed with his leadership skills and how mature he was in the process of working with us. I got to say, I admire him for making the decision to pull themselves as alliance captain and bring in the tech counts. I know that's not an easy decision, but it definitely was a decision that was probably best in the matches that we looked at that. We were predicted by Robotics not to win any matches and got all the way to the finals. And so we were very excited about that. And we were pretty dynamic in our strategy. One of the things that being an ex-coach, I think that's a strength I bring to the table is strategy and be able to make some decisions on the fly. And we went into every match with multiple plays in mind, and we executed multiple plays depending on what the other team was doing. It was a unique experience of order placement. 2056 on 2 different occasions called order placement. And Jeff Ballard, our head ref,
interesting,
had to come and talk to the kids about it the first time, explain it. And, when teams are looking for every single little advantage to figure out what's going to go on. And I just told our kids, I said, you should take that as a compliment as an alliance, that they want to know exactly where we're placing our robots so they can think about what autonomouses they're trying to run. We had a great time. We were super pumped to get to the finals of Galileo and won the Innovation and Control Award. So we were very excited about that as well. Our kids were bummed. We've never been on Einstein as a robot. And that's something that's always a goal of ours is to be there. And I was really proud of our kids this year and the leadership I had for the team. And 2056 and 987 just had a little more firepower than we had and put it to us in all three matches we played them. But we had a great time and really enjoyed working with Tech Hounds and Digital Dislocators and with Bedford Express.
Awesome. Thanks for that, Norm. Yeah, I know Bedford Express is a great team from Michigan. We're pretty familiar with them. But moving forward, I want to jump into looking at Einstein Finals 2. This was kind of a unique strategy, not necessarily what I had really expected from seeing where the game was and kind of the strategy that Orbit Alliance was playing. So Tyler's going to pull up the match here, but I want to start a few things that I really thought that were great about this specific match. 321, one of the biggest, aspects to this match, that played some great clean defense throughout the tournament and really in these last two final matches. Defense being viable at the highest level of play in Crescendo is not necessarily something that I was anticipating, to be frank. I thought, there was definitely some uniqueness to it and what it looked like, but I was interested to see that, that's, what ended up winning the world championship for this alliance. In my opinion, that was one of the biggest things that made them the difference. The other thing that I thought that the Red Alliance here did really well was Orbit stealing the pieces and their overall flow of the field. They did a really good job of constantly viewing what the Red Alliance was looking at, while trying to amplify, their own speaker. But one of the things that I thought that the Blue Alliance had actually kind of hindered them a little bit was there were a couple times, I can't remember if it was exactly in the finals 1 or 2 matches, but there was a couple of times where they had actually got like 1 or 2 pieces on their amplification cycles. I can't remember if it was during Einstein, but I can't remember if it was in the Einstein finals or not. But I remember like Blues losing out here on some amplification points. They're only scoring 1 and 2 on the speaker. So I was curious to see where that was going to move into from that standpoint. But what really propelled the Blue Alliance here is capitalizing on mistakes that Red Alliance made and capitalizing on managing the flow of the field. You can really see it in Finals 1 and moving into Finals 2 is Orbit and Scream do a really good job of constantly flowing around the robots, avoiding contact, and stealing pieces when Madtown was passing them. Orbit did a really good job of, if they saw a piece that they were going for and saw that Madtown was getting ready to pass one before the Poofs could get back, they would immediately stop what they were doing and would go and steal that piece to kind of starve the Poofs and causing them to go all the way back to the source, which eventually just ended up taking more time. So, Connor, were you still on the floor for this match, or had you already gone up?
I was at this point I was seated with 131 Chaos, who was actually in front of this field. So I wanted to.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, so I sat with them for this one. I was with Mechanical Advantage for pretty much all of Einstein up until this match. So I got to see quite a lot of this. The strategies that both of these alliances ran throughout their divisional playoffs and most of Einstein just completely changed for not only just this match, but also Finals 1. Because, you'd see a lot of cleanup, but then it's really hard to play cleanup when you can't have your cycling robot just, they're not sending notes because they're just under defense all the time. So you have to have both those robots just kind of running back and forth cycles. And I think if Madtown didn't race back to grab that one last note, I think we'd be going to a tiebreaker. I don't know what match number 3 would have looked like, but it definitely would have gone to a third match. It's something that I worked with my drivers a lot this season, where I'd see we've got 20 to 25 seconds left to go. It's hey, if we're up by a little bit and we have those ranking points, if it's a qual or even a playoff, if we're up by a little bit, in my opinion, it wasn't worth it because we took way too many hits early on in the season of running through that other alliance's stage. And it's I can't risk that point. That's a lot of penalty points to add up at the end. So it unfortunately didn't pay off, but the way that the dynamic just changed overall was insane. 321 played what I would like to call classic New England defense from a team that's not from New England, and then 294 doing the same over there. But defense won the championship this year, in my opinion.
Yeah, and hats off to 321 Hall of Fame team last year, wins their first world championship this year. That's a pretty crazy 2 years for a team from that perspective. But Norm, what are your overall thoughts, or maybe some surprises on what we saw in the Einstein finals here?
So I was surprised to see the level of defense. I'm a big fan of it, being an ex-coach, and if you watched us throughout the year, we deployed defense in nearly every match we played in the playoffs in some aspect, and I thought there were people trying to do some things in these matches that might not have been their special feature or their most comfortable skill set. One of the things that stood out to me of something we practice in finals one is what we call the leapfrog, where Orbit shoots one to the midfield, and then they carry one to the midfield, and as soon as they get to midfield, they shoot the one to the amp, and they pick up the other one. So they're basically running a 2-in-1 cycle. Mm-hmm. They're literally getting 2 notes down the field in one trip. And so finding that opportunity, and the other thing I thought was great that the Orbit Alliance did is they had alternating cycles where Scream and Orbit were coming in and going out, and really made it tough on the defense to try to catch up and figure out where people were. And I thought those two worked great. Even using the robot basically like a pick in basketball, using the defender as a pick to run around with the guy who had the note, and then the defense creating the deep confusion on the defense's part. So I thought it was really great execution. I do agree with Connor on the last note, wondering if Madtown hadn't made that dash there, if they come out a little bit sooner. But, behind the glass, we've all been behind the glass. We know those split-second decisions that happen, and it's like, well, go get one more. And I'm just as guilty of that. We had one of our matches on Saturday that we didn't climb because I told Fletcher, let's go get one more, and I underestimated the time, and we were left not being able to do what we wanted to do at the end of the game. And that was absolutely on me, a call that I made, and it's fortunate to have a driver that listens to his coach and wants to do exactly what he says. Sometimes the coach is not always the right one.
Right. Yeah. Thanks again for that, Norm. Go ahead.
I want to point out something. Eric Ornston in chat brought up something very interesting. This is 321's first event win ever.
Wow, good for them.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's quite the way to win your first, for sure.
A slew of impact banners, and then this is their first one, winning their division and the championship. So yeah, hats off to them.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thanks everybody, and congratulations to all the teams and alliances that won, awards or your divisions, or even making the finals in your division. And congrats to the Orbit Alliance winning the championship. Congrats to the 254-1323 Alliance for making it to the finals. It's a feat to get there, and I know it's a lot of hard work. And big congratulations to those teams. Before we go and jump into our next topic, we'll go ahead and bring Tyler on to draw for that giveaway and hear from our friends at Andy Mark.
Yeah, so once again, the giveaway is going to be GOAT for that keyword. So hopefully you type that in chat for the Andy Mark GOAT, and also for the Steam Strict Wheel t-shirt. If you do win, by the way, please go to firstupdatesnow.com/winner to put in your information for that. Giveaways typically take a couple weeks. If you did win in the last couple weeks, so keep in mind it was championships. Might take just a little bit longer for that as well, too. So winner of that, Brandon McDonald, congratulations. You have won. Make sure you go to firstupdatesnow.com/winner in order to claim. And also as well, too, Andy Mark is our supporter of this show, so do you want to thank them? If you didn't see our video from earlier today that went through a whole bunch of our FRC suppliers from all over the FRC globe, and also some things from the Innovation Fair, here's a little snippet of what Andy Mark is bringing, including some of the new in partnership SDS Mach MK4 modules that are the new narrow ones, and a lot of other cool products as well. So we'll be right back. Here's a little bit more about Andy Mark at the championships.
Hi, my name is Ethan. I'm here with Andy Mark. I'm a mechanical engineer at the company. We're here in the Robot Service Center at the Andy Mark booth. We've got a couple of new products we're showing off. First up on the list, and what a lot of people have been interested this weekend, are these new Mark 4N swerve modules from Swerve Drive Specialties. They're very similar to the Mark IV-I modules. There's a conversion kit between them, but the N stands for narrow. There's sort of a different profile of module here, intended for game pieces to come up in between modules, allow for different sorts of intakes and stuff. All of this is sitting on top of also another new AndyMark product we're calling the Robot Parts Cart. This will be sold here in a couple weeks. It comes with a couple tackle boxes to store your parts in, wood top surface for you to use as a workbench, as well as compatible with some battery chargers, so you can store your batteries, get them charging right on the cart. You can latch several of them in a line together, carry them very quickly. I think it's going to make a really important part of a lot of teams' pits this year. Also, we have in the booth here a new brushed motor controller. We're calling the Coors 40 motor controller after Mark Coors, one of the founders of AndyMark. We're really excited to show that off. It's hopefully a low-cost option for teams to use brushed motors here in FRC.
Alrighty, so now we're going to go into our third topic of the night. So this is something that we've brought up quite a few times here on the show, but we're going to bring it up one more for good measure because summer CD is in full swing as of Saturday at 6:30 Central Time. So we're going to be revisiting the Alliance selection. So, it's a reoccurring topic. How do we improve upon Alliance selection? And there's been a few things that have kind of popped up recently. Some of that happening, at the championship this past weekend. One of the things that's been mentioned about improving time spent was actually having the first round of Alliance selection done on that Friday night, and then Saturday, just coming in and doing the rest of the Alliance selection. Kind of a little beneficial, I guess, a little bit of a double-edged sword there. On one end, you can have your first pick, and now you got 2 teams worth of data. You can really look for those for that second pick and for that backup robot. And then on the other hand, it's like for those teams that don't get picked, it's like, okay, here we go. We're really starting to get a little bit worried, and now you're going to bed that Friday night being like, am I going to get picked? I don't know. We're going to go around the horn pretty quickly on this one. Nick, I want to bring you on. Do you have any comments on this?
Yeah, absolutely. I think one of the things that is interesting, in my opinion, obviously there was, the issue that had occurred on Newton, and I'm not going to go into it, but, we've talked about before, it's a very stressful situation, especially at the championship for the students. I think doing the first round Friday night is a very interesting topic. Because a lot of the times your 1 and 2 seeds more than likely are meeting Friday night anyway. That's just the nature of, how the championship works. So why don't we just do the entire first round Friday night and then give every alliance that competitive advantage to be able to sit down, look at what they want to do for those couple picks and see what, that might look like. I believe, Bassel's the one that kind of brought this up. We had actually talked about this on Saturday too, just Saturday morning, just as like an interesting topic. So it was cool to see that this had some traction to it. But I think this could be a really good way to go about that. I'm a big fan of doing this also for MSC. MSC Alliance selections happen on Friday night, all of it. And I think this could be a good alternative to move towards that too. So I think this could, take some alleviate, one, it could eliminate some of your time issues that we're seeing, alleviate some of the stress of our students, because then they can, most of the time that second robot or, third robot at the championship is where the difficult decision happens, because you're really comparing 2 teams' data at that point and who wants what. So that could be eliminated this way. But Norm, I believe Texas State Champs is still Saturday morning, right? So what do you think of this possible doing the first round Friday night and then doing the rest Saturday morning at State Champs or at the championship? Yeah, or something else.
I think it's a great model. I think it's very similar to what you do at a regional model, because regionals, Saturday morning, you play your last 2 matches, and then you go right into alliance selections, and so it kind of puts that in play. I think where it really helps is I think the 6 through 8 teams can benefit the most, because they now get to crunch some data about trying to find that robot that would complement the 2 of them. I think the 1 through 4 have the benefit of picking the stronger robots in the alliance already, and so I think the advantage of doing this would really help the 6 through 8 robots, and I think that would be a welcome addition, and would also maybe make things go a little bit quicker on Saturday morning, especially at World Champs, because you're picking that 4th robot, which is really like normal alliance selections anyway, to regional tournament or district championship.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Connor, overall thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I could lean either way on it. I mean, as being on the 8th seed multiple times this season with 2 different teams at district champs, it probably would have been a lot nicer for me. Even actually, no, I was the 2nd pick that time around. But anyway, it probably would have been nice for the 8th seed captain there. It didn't really apply to me this weekend. We knew exactly who we wanted to pick immediately after picking up Link. But I can definitely see how a bunch of teams would be able to benefit from it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Tyler, you had one thing at the end before we go ahead and move on?
Just one thing, an observation that I saw at championships, and I've seen it at other events too. I really would like to get some clarification from HQ in the future to give to MCs in regards to how to handle alliance selections, because there are way too many fields that I saw MCs pressuring teams to make their picks on things. And it's unacceptable to do something like that. There are no rules in place right now. That's definitely not the MC's call to make for things. And it was very frustrating to watch that. Now, there were a couple that I thought did a really fantastic job, by the way. There was obviously some very long alliance selections that happened. One of them had like a 30-minute pick for something like that. And I thought, from an MC who handled it, I thought he did quite well, at least from what I could see. But there's some other fields where it's just like the MC just kept bugging him over and over. It's like, just stand there, and when you're ready, make eye contact with me, and we'll know we're good to go. And let somebody else handle that problem for it. It was very disappointing to see on that. And is it the MC's fault in that specific circumstance? Yes. However, it's also a systemic issue that FIRST needs to start solving and provide more guidance, because there really is none, for the most part, to MCs in regards to how to handle it when this situation takes place. So who should be handling it? How long is it, if anything, until somebody else becomes involved at least for things? Please first provide some better guidelines so those selection processes can go smoother, especially when we have students on the field where it's a very emotional, it's a very time that is very easy to have things go wrong. Let's provide a better environment for our students.
Yeah, I totally agree with that, Tyler. I think that's a good point. And not just a championship, we've seen it a couple times throughout the season, but it's definitely, like you said, a systemic issue that can be solved. So I'd be interested to, hopefully see that they can do something on that moving forward. But all right, before we go ahead and hop into our final topic of the night, let's bring Taylor back on to draw for our second giveaway from Cross the Road Electronics.
Yeah, so we're giving away another one of those Phoenix Pro licenses once again. So great for the 2025 season coming up here. If you didn't see also in that video, there was some stuff from CTRE in regards to new stuff that they have coming down the pipeline as well. But if you're interested in winning the Phoenix Pro license, type in chat, finger licking good, for the wonderful chicken stuff that they are. So finger licking good, that's your keyword. Don't forget that our YouTube subscribers get 3 times luck, so it's free to do. Click that button, and we'll draw for that in just a little bit as we start to wrap up the show.
Awesome. Thanks again to our friends at CTR. Jumping in topic 4, Connor is also going to lead this one. So, Connor, go ahead.
Yeah, in our last topic of the night, everyone saw Dean's speech at the championship this year. The grand total was 21 minutes, 7.88 seconds for the unofficial timer. Made sure to screenshot that one. Dean's homework is always a big thing that I like to take very personally. It's something I always look forward to every year. And if you were at the Founders reception this past year, it was the exact same thing, except Founders was probably about twice as long as that speech, but nonetheless, a very good one. So his homework, expanding the amount of teams, not only in local areas, but just all throughout FRC, and also just FIRST in general, through all the levels of programs. And a very nice benefit of those XRP robots, which actually are pretty cool. I'm not entirely too sure if that, those robots are cool, don't get me wrong, and I'd love to have them in every classroom, as Dean and the awesome governor of New Hampshire, Chris Sununu, wants to do. But I don't think it's a good benefit. It's hard for me because in an area where team sustainability isn't the greatest, to me, I don't feel like it's right to be able to just start up a whole bunch of teams. They get 1 to 2 years of those rookie grants, and then year 3 they struggle to be able to find money to be able to pay the registration fee or be able to build a robot. I am all for growth in this program, but I think we need to be a little bit more inviting to the teams that are currently just struggling to survive day to day. Norm, I want to bring this up to you as someone who runs 3 teams and is in a pretty heavily populated area in Texas. What are your opinions on this?
So for us, our 3 teams was about growth within the team, growth within the program, and trying to have kids have an opportunity to participate. As I said early in the show, I think sustainability is key. I'm all for growth. I think finding ways to pair rookie teams with veteran teams. This year, we participated in a program called Co-Pilot that we founded, where we mentored 14 rookies from California all the way across to Mississippi through virtual calls and pairing and getting some other veteran teams involved. But I think you start a team in a program in a school or in a community, and then it goes away. I think resurrecting teams in those communities is a really, really tough battle after visiting with several regional directors. But I am all for growth. As an educator, giving me 1 XRP per class really creates a problem for me as an educator, because how do I use 1 when I've got a large class? So if you have a bunch in one school, maybe rotating around on the campus, I see that's a way that you could utilize those. But I understand Dean's. I'm an ex-coach in athletics, and having robotics in every school is their passion and their mission. And I understand where Dean's coming from and First HQ with that. So for me, it's I think the key is pairing rookies with mentor teams, so that they know they have a big brother, they have a big sister they can call to get resources or to just get advice on how to get started. And I think often a lot of the rookies overreach and they try to do too much. And then that just leads to that next step of lack of success at a tournament, which then leads to that frustration and why am I doing this? So I think I think the kitbot was great for rookie teams this year, and allowing that sustainability piece maybe be a little bit easier.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thanks for that, Norm. I have an interesting opinion because obviously I'm from Michigan. Shout out Dean for giving Michigan a shout out in his speech. But I think one of the biggest things, and like Justin Montoya really highlights it here. Gail Alpert does a really good job in Michigan of really trying to get every FRC team or every high school in Michigan, has an FRC team. And it's, she is one of the main reasons that Michigan has as many teams as it does. But in my opinion, where it really chalks down to is we have a sustainability problem, not a new team problem. There are multiple aspects in which first teams can start new teams, and first teams have, there's a lot of times where, I'm listening to impact presentations and stuff like that, and they started 30 FTC teams and started all these FRC teams, and that's great. But we're going to get to a point where, like as Justin says here, we're going to be in the 10,000 soon of team numbers, and we're just over 3,300 teams. And it's a sustainability problem. And Norm, I think what you had stated regarding to pairing those high level, veteran teams with those rookie teams is a really great step in the correct direction. The kitbot, the entry to first is a very difficult topic. And I think with first adapting the kitbot after the influence of the Everybot and the Everybot being a great resource for these teams, we're getting to the point where, the entry level to FRC is becoming lower and lower and lower. But my opinion, until the overall cost of the program decreases, we're still going to have issues. And I know that's a topic for another time. We can sit here and talk for hours on end about it, but it's not a secret. FRC is expensive, and it's going to continue to be expensive. So those are my overall thoughts on it. But Norma, a question for you. I know that appreciate his move to, Alpha and Apprentice, having 3 teams at that school level. What is the biggest benefit or success that you see of your program having 3 teams rather than 1?
So for me as an educator, it's about the experience. I have 128 kids that did FRC this year. 128 kids on one FRC team. Our freshmen this year would not have done much, and they would not have had a great experience, and probably a lot of those kids wouldn't come back. So you talk about sustainability. It's the sustainability of having kids that come in their freshman year, and if they want to be back, they can, because they got to experience something. And I see, especially in the district model, it's easier. I was the biggest proponent of districts in Texas before it came about, because for $6,000, I get 2 tournaments for 1 team and guaranteed 24 matches. And playing after lunch is if you have a decent robot that you have worked with and you've driven, you probably have a high likelihood of being able to play after lunch on Saturday afternoon and let those kids experience that. So we see it happening in Texas. There's, I think, 5 or 6 programs in Texas. We have had several teams in California have talked to us. Spartans did it this year. Team Screen, Michael Wright and I visited several years ago about it. The original team that did it for me was Mort and Mort Beta. David Bodmer with Mort. We picked Mort at Champs, and we picked Poofs in aerial assist. In ultimate ascent. And David and I became friends, and he was doing it with his team, and that was where I first started with the idea. And I think the advantage for me is my kids get to experience the whole experience as freshmen, sophomores. They get to the preseason, the game breakdown, the strategy, the game analysis. Even though I make them do a kit bot or an every bot as our model, and then they get to do one upgrade to that robot for Alpha. So that's their engineering challenge. And then we all go to the same tournaments. Apprentice this year was the first time we had their individual design. We saw that for us having twins, that we were going to soon get to the point where we had appreciate students that didn't have much design skills or much design practice in the process. So that was important for us to try to get them going and experience that more. And then for me is F2468. This year, Fletcher was on the drive team for 3 years for me. And so Unity and Catherine were on a team they were on 2468 driving for 3 years. And they were on the drive team during COVID when Texas Cup happened. So for me, it's a competitive advantage. I'll be perfectly honest with you, but the competitive advantage is not for me. The blue banners are for me are, the kids and the experiences that they get to bring through the program, and then they get to leave and they get to own that experience in that process. And Talons is a team in Texas. There's 3. Itcan has 2. So just having those opportunities. Spectrum has them and their second team. So we see more and more teams that are taking and latching on. And I think it's the experience that the kids gain. And as you said a while ago, Nick, the entry level of materials and kits is so much better than when 10 years ago. It's the cost level and if you limit them to a limited budget, they can have a successful robot. They can be competitive. They don't have to go to world champs. I was fortunate enough to get mine to world champs this year and last year, 2 teams. But that is definitely not a definition of what is success for us. Success for us is kids owning the experience and getting an opportunity. And I think you're going to continue to see more veteran teams do that. And that just plays right in line with what Dean's kept saying is starting new teams. Here's your way you can increase the number of teams. Instead of having a team of 60 on one team, what if you had a team of 40 and a team of 20? And both of them get a great opportunity and great experience in that process.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks for that, Norm. I know that's been like an interesting topic of teams that have multiple teams, whether they're building twins or not. So it's interesting to hear, your perspective and what's the reasoning that, you guys really focus on doing that. So thanks for providing that and, giving some input to that. I know that, it's been good for you, and I'm glad that it's continued to work out for you. And I know a lot of teams look up to that perspective for that. So before we go ahead and wrap up the show, let's go ahead and bring Tyler back on to draw for that giveaway from CTR.
Yeah, once again, finger licking good was the keyword for that. So if you do win, please go to firstupdatesnow.com/winner in order to claim. And that's going to be Soren. Congratulations, Soren. Make sure you go to firstupdatesnow.com/winner in order to claim. And thanks again to CTRE, Andy Mark, and all the other suppliers who have provided giveaways for all of our live shows this season.
Awesome. Thanks again to CTR. Thank you, everybody, for tuning into FRC Roundup. Special thanks to all those who clicked that subscribe button or stepped up to help fund by becoming a fund member or supporter by clicking the join button. Your support really helps us continue to make great content. Don't forget, you can watch FRC Roundup archived at youtube.com/firstupdatesnow and watch live during the competition season. Thank you to Norm, our guest, for coming on. And on behalf of our producer, Tyler Olds, my co-host, Connor, and all fun correspondents, I'm Nick Jr., and thanks for watching. Congrats to all the teams who competed in the 2024 Crescendo season, and good luck as we start here in the off-season. Now that the official competition season is over, we'll be switching back to once-a-month shows, so keep an eye out for future announcements. See you next time, same time, where we take a look at what is going on with First Robotics on FRC Roundup. Thanks, everyone.
This video on fun is brought to you by viewers like you and also in partnership with the following. AndyMark is your one-stop shop for all your robotics competition needs. Celebrating 20 years of quality robotics parts and superior service, AndyMark employees have over 200 years of first-team experience. From mechanical and electrical products to tools and hardware, head on over to andymark.com for high-quality and affordable solutions.